the Women Who Launch panel. And this panel can consist of some beautiful change agents.
Hey.
Here we go. Here come the ladies. The ladies run this house. Okay, here we are. Hey. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm going to start this mute with Kim and just go around and introduce everyone because there's someone's background noise. Okay, here we go. And I'll unmute you, okay? I think, all right. So this is the Women Who Launch panel. It's all about women who have an idea or had an idea, decided to own it, and bring it out into the world. And in that birthing process, we've gone through transformation of all kinds. And maybe the self-care either was bolstered or was depleted. So I just want to go around right now and everyone to introduce themselves. I'm starting with Kim. You can say who you are, your background, all of that.
Well, hello, Shani.
Hey.
So if you heard Shani mention before, Shani and I are cousins. And my name is Kim Horvath, and I am a master coach. And my group on Facebook is called Ignited Spirits. And my passion is to work with people, helping them to get to the next step, the next very best step for their life. And I really enjoy speaking to people, helping them understand their spiritual DNA, helping them to get clear, helping them to gain some confidence and to connect not only with others, but with themselves. And that's really what I'm working on. The whole idea of understanding your spiritual DNA and having that spiritual shift on the inside, that will, when you do that, it just changes your course of life. And I've been on both sides of it. I've been up, I've been down, I've lost myself. And that's really kind of how I arrived here. So I'm excited to be here and to share a little bit today.
Well, thank you for being here, cousin. And let me just say, so I asked Kim to be part of it because of her coaching and because of what she's doing with her Ignited Spirits. We're family, but that's not the reason why I asked you. I love what you're doing. I love what you're creating. So thank you for being a part.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's go to Miss Marcia McLeod. How are you doing, darling? Wait, I'm sorry. Let me unmute you. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. You look gorgeous, as always. Please introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay, so I'm Marcia. I'm an inspirational speaker. I'm an author, mentor, and a mother of 3 wonderful children. I'm also the creator of the Powerful Purpose Philosophy, which is a program that I designed, which came about through my own journey of pain and discovering my purpose through that journey of pain. And now my mission really is to empower other women specifically to find who they are, to find themselves, to dig deep, to discover the gems within them and discover their purpose and to live their best life.
Okay, I love it. I met Marcia through us being in an accountability group and just hearing about all that you've done and how you have your self-care really came out of, like, your book is about your self-care.
Right.
So I cannot wait to find out more about you. Thank you, Marcia. All right, we have Miss Kai. Hello, my dear. How are you? Oh, sorry, babe. 1 second. Here we go. Yes.
I am great, thank you. So my name is Kai, and I am an entrepreneur and a motivational author. I have a book called I Am What I Say I Am, which is a simple workbook and guide to really help you overcome self-doubt and build your confidence. So together with Marcia, I also, we co-host a podcast together called Mind Over Matter Talks. And again, really focusing on helping people to talk about all kinds of matters of the mind and really dig deeper to just unpack what's going on. And yeah, there's lots of things, but overall, I just love empowering and helping women to achieve their best selves.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So Kai is here in Dubai, but you're from the UK, right?
Yes, UK.
Okay. Well, thank you for being part of this. I cannot wait to learn more about you also.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. All right. We have Christina Awad. How are you doing? Wait, I'll mute you. Here we go. Wait, did I do it? Okay,
Hello.
got it.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me, Shani. It's such an honor to be here and share space with all of you.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you. Please, I met last year. I think there's a mute for just a second. I'll mute and I'll talk, and then I'll mute, and then because I think there's a feedback thing. So, okay, thank you very much. I met Christina last year with her blank canvas community, and she was part of my retreat. And the art that we created through the community we created through art was so empowering. So I would love for you just to introduce yourself to everyone. Okay.
Sure. Thank you so much, Shani. We had such a wonderful time last year. Really, it was so much fun. So, hello, everybody. My name is Christina, and I'm the co-founder of Blank Canvas Community. So basically, in a nutshell, because I can go on about this, but we're a social enterprise. And our aim is basically community building through art and wellness. And we strive to make creative expression accessible to everyone. So we do that through collaborative painting, through group workshops, through meditation, through yoga, and with aim, to get to know the self a little bit deeper and also meet like-minded people and create, a family so people can feel welcome to share and explore their creativity and their wellness. That's it in a nutshell. Do you need more info?
Sorry. You're doing a lot of things here in Abu Dhabi. Yeah, there's like a feedback thing. All right, let's go back to everyone. I'll get back on the camera. Okay, so I'm going to be the host today, and I have some questions. I think there's something going on with your mic, so I'm going to mute you all now, okay? Yeah, that's right. All right. So what we're going to do is just going to ask some questions. Everyone will get a chance. Some questions everyone will answer. Some others will not. Okay. Thank you. Great panel of talented ladies. Awesome. So let's get started. All right. So it's all about self-care, building, launching. Can you tell me, I want to start with Marcia. How your self-care launched, or what impact did your self-care have on launching your business?
Major impact. One of the things that I did as part of my self-care routine was meditation. This was one of the only things that allowed me to really get to a point where I was able to be still and to just not have all the chaos going on. It was a point where I could just be still and to really focus and think about what next. And along that journey, I actually became a Reiki practitioner. So the two hand in hand for me just allowed me to be in a zone where I could think logically. Mm-hmm. And so that then was the platform for me to even consider building a business, because I wanted, and I want people to, especially women, to come out of that chaotic state and to be able to be still and to do the same as me. Maybe they don't want to, run a business, but they essentially want to be their best version of themselves. And I certainly wasn't in that place. Just a few years ago, I was in a really low place. So to be able to find that and hold space and be able to recreate myself, I owe that to, self-care.
Wow.
So that's so cool.
What part? Okay, thank you. Pause. Appreciate it. I have a follow-up. I want to ask Kim to answer the same exact question. How did your self-care launch your business, launch your practice?
Oh, so I think that for people who especially are in, holistic practices and businesses where they're helping other people is usually because we're coming from a place where we've overcome something. And
Mm-hmm.
what happened with me is, I mean, I dealt with severe depression and being suicidal for a number of years. And even when I wasn't in having suicidal tendencies, I was still severely depressed. And I had a lot of situations going on in my life, and I call them our pets. You know, they're the people, the experiences, the things, and the situations that we deal with in life. And what I recognized about all of those things is that I was the common denominator. And when I realized that I could not continue to blame what was going on in my life on other people, I had to look within. And as I began to look within and accept my responsibility for my role in whatever it was, doesn't matter what they did, I knew that I had a part in it, and I wanted to stop attracting those people, those experiences, those things in those situations. And as I began to take a look at myself and make those one by one shifts in my life, I recognized that I really did have control. And once I gained that control, I just wanted to share it with everyone else because I
Mm.
really believe that, you know, what causes our ministry is the place where we're supposed to be feeding others. So that's exactly what happened. I began to look in within and make my changes, and I said, hey, if I could do this and I can change my life, I know I can help other people live empowered lives as well.
Well, yeah, that's powerful. I'm hearing a trend. It sounds like depression, pain, uncomfortableness, darkness has birthed this beauty. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Kai, I would love to hear how your self-care has impacted your business and your writing and being an author.
She's muted, I think.
Oh, okay. That's unmuted now. I think. Oh, you muted yourself, babe. There you go.
Absolutely. I can really resonate, and my story echoes, the ladies who have just spoken, because I had many things that happened to me, growing up and just experiencing, the music industry, wanting to create, start businesses, sort of like mid-20s. And I now reside in Dubai. So once I moved and I realized that certain situations were reoccurring, certain outcomes are reoccurring, I was now in a new space with new people. So the aha moment came when I realized that it wasn't necessarily the people, but I was also the common denominator. And my response to certain situations was what was kind of getting me into certain pickles. So once I really unlocked that for myself and realized, wow, I've been doing, this and this in these situations, and perhaps, not wanting to hurt people's feelings, or not knowing how to communicate or how to be vocal in expressing how I felt, I kind of just realized so much about myself, and just everything rooted back to me, that the only person you can ultimately control is yourself. And so, I kind of knew that before, but it was just something that, went over my head. But in absolutely understanding the fundamentals, I just wanted to tell so many people. And that is definitely what led me to writing my book, and now has led me to doing my course, Reclaim Your Power, which is helping other women to rebuild and claim their own confidence and just do what they know they can do deep down, but might actually feel stuck and unsure how to do that.
Well, no, that I again, the way. Thank you, Kai, for that, for explaining the way all of you right now have used your dark moments to transcend it and you create is empowering. Christina, what was the moment when in your life when you said that my self-care is important?
I really hope the mic is better
Okay.
now. Honestly, when I started becoming aware of all my negative patterns, so I started realizing that, so I'm naturally like a happier person, but then I went through quite a long phase of my life where so many kind of misfortunes were happening, over and over, and I'm just trying to understand why is this going on. So despite kind of questioning, becoming aware of these triggers, I recognized the pattern that's been playing out at different stages of my life. So until I was aware of this pattern, I kind of literally like caught it and kind of sat with it and released all the emotions that were tied into this pattern. And then only once I was able to release it, then I was able to make a change, for the better.
Okay, so you looked at your pattern, and then looked at her pattern to see what needed to change. Let me just see, the mic is still hold. Okay.
Still bad?
Yeah, it's like if you hear it, that's better. Okay. So Christina looked at her pattern and said what she needed to change. Marcia, what did you look at, or when did you decide that your self-care was important? What was the moment you were like, you know what, I have to make this change?
I hit rock bottom. I couldn't. I also suffered from depression, and as I mentioned before, I have children, and I wasn't functioning, and I knew that I had to do something. I couldn't continue in that way. My kids were relying on me, and I had to pick myself up. There was no other option, literally, no other option. I had to move forward, and so I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, literally. And so I had to find something that was going to help me get out of that hole. And that's when I started to, invest in myself. It was something I never did before. I'm an empath. I put everybody else before myself. And so I realized that no matter how much I was giving of myself, that was all in vain if I wasn't actually going to give anything back to myself. And so
thank you. Go on, sorry.
I was going to say I'm a big advocate now of self-love, because I understand now that I can't truly love anyone else if I don't love myself first. And so that's something that I really encourage in others now. I was often told I was selfish because I was putting myself first, but that's okay if someone thinks that. So now that doesn't affect me, because I know it's important for me to love myself, to be the best version of myself, and to be there for others, because that's my calling, right? To empower others. But I can't do that if I'm not feeding myself.
You can't, and the fact that you have children,
right.
You're literally modeling to them how they show up for themselves.
Exactly.
It for me it's similarly in when things shifted for me, and when I saw the major impact my behaviors and my choices, and it was just really overindulging, like it was just overeating, how that affected how my daughter ate and how she showed up.
Right.
And the fact that as women, we are the pillars of our family. Like, even if we don't have children, the sisters, the daughters, people look to us for guidance. So I love that you decided that it mattered and that it's vital.
Yeah.
So now your children also see that also. And
definitely. They're my biggest cheerleaders now.
That's awesome. So who else on this panel has ever been told that self-care is selfish? Okay.
Yeah.
Self-care is selfish. All right. Who wants to elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I think until you start doing it as a necessity, whether it's depression or you've had some kind of breakdown or whatever, and you start really realizing maybe where you dropped the ball. Some people, I've been in a relationship where you know, if I wasn't doing everything with and for my ex-partner, it was almost like, well, how can you be doing this for yourself? Like, what about me? What about us? You know, this needs doing. And, you know, sometimes I would think to myself, okay, yes, you're right. I need to, you know, we need to cook, or we need to. And then sometimes I'm like, I literally only have one pair of hands. So I can't be texting and writing something and cooking. Like, it's not going to work. And I think, because I actually also used to work with my ex-partner, and I did start to feel quite guilty. But of course, when it started to be ridiculously unreasonable, I'm like, hang on a minute. If I don't say no at some point, I will keep going and saying, yeah, sure, drop this, pick something else up. Yeah, sure, drop that. Yeah, drive. I can't be all things at all times. And, you know, I realized if I don't say no, someone else intentionally or unintentionally is going to keep asking. And all I'm going to do is keep saying yes. And realizing that I was a people pleaser, I'd heard that term before, but I was like, oh, that's not me. No, because I stay. And then having that aha moment of going, oh my gosh, yes, I am a people pleaser, because I am just saying yes all the time to just, you know, be flexible, to just make it work, to make the conversation easy. And then when I say no, which never happened, oh, you're selfish. So I'm okay with that term now, because I'm like, there's nothing wrong with being selfish. And I know I'm not the extreme of what some people, or even what I used to associate with being selfish. You know, I think everyone's got so many different ugly ideas of what that word means. But if someone calls me selfish now, I'm like, it's okay. I have to protect my boundaries. And so if that's what you call it, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, thank you, Kai. Self-care is boundaries. It 100%. And maybe boundaries for someone else is being selfish, but for us, it's oxygen.
Right.
Literally.
You know, it's yes.
Can I jump in, Kai? That was so well explained. I completely resonate with that. I really feel that it's finding that balance, you know, because self-love is literally the foundation of love for everything outside of you. So if we have that foundation within, then we're able to radiate that to everyone outside of us. But if we don't give ourselves enough time, or the same time we give others, then of course we're going to feel depleted and tired. And you know, so definitely like taking that time for yourself, the same time you give others, is so important. That's the balance, right? That's like the ultimate balance. Because if we know how to serve ourselves, we can be better, can serve our world so much better.
That's true.
So true.
That's true.
I think, Kim, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to say that self-care really is an investment in your future, right? The way this appeared to me so glaringly real, and a lot of people will be able to resonate with this, is that I was around 28 years old, and I looked at, you know, and I had several short-lived relationships, and it was about 5 of them. And when I took a step back, I realized I dated the same man, although it was 5 different men, right? Right? So, you know, it was me. And we were taught, you know, as women, we're taught to be caretakers. We're taught to, you know, make sure we're stretching ourselves for other people. You know, we're trained in the mindset of being people pleasers and saying yes, but we are not taught to put ourselves first. And so our mindset automatically goes to guilty the moment that we start feeling like we need to do something for ourselves when someone else wants to make a demand on us. But if we don't, we deplete ourselves. And I learned that, you know, I was depressed because I was angry.
Wow.
I was mad. I was pissed off. And what happened is that it just turned inward, and I literally didn't even feel the anger. I was so well trained that I went straight from anger to sad, anger to depressed. I never felt the anger. And so it was for me a very long, uncomfortable process of learning how to sit with my anger and feel it, and then learn how to appropriately express it. And then set boundaries so I didn't always get there. And as I did that and I started saying yes to myself, everyone in my inner circle shifted. And I had better people. I was showing up as a more authentic person. I was happier. My platform shifted. I had more energy. I mean, everything changed, but it was these small changes and being willing to be brave and recognize when I needed to correct myself.
Yeah.
So, how do we get there? Do we have to have this dark moment, this pain point of depression, of deep sadness, or a rejection? We have to get to that point for us to start caring about ourselves.
I don't think we have to, but what I
Okay.
think often happens with many of us is we're on autopilot. And as humans, we're creatures of habit. And often, like, looking at yourself is hard work. It's not like you just buy an outfit, it fits, and then you go on your merry way for the rest of your life. It's continuous work. So if you're not aware, then you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But then when you become aware, you kind of like, you want to tuck it into the corner so you don't have to really deal with it or face it, you know? And when you actually start to uncover it, I think it's something that takes a lot of bravery and honesty. And I think a lot of people, including myself, you don't want to do that, especially when you don't think anything's wrong. You want to keep going with everyday life. But when you realize that you've got to start peeling back the layers, it's like a rabbit hole sometimes, you know, and that's not to scare anyone, but it's a continuous thing. And different situations that happen that now you realize become triggers, and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that was still a thing. But it is, because if you're not facing that situation and if you're not doing the work to fix that situation, you can go for days, weeks, months, years happily thinking nothing's wrong. But then when you start to become self-aware, that's kind of the awakening. And for a lot of us, we just keep piling it on until you get to that point and you realize there's no way down. It's just back up, and you've got to start to uncover what is really going on, sadly.
I'd like to add to that, actually, that something that's come to me as you were speaking, Kai, that consistency is key. So even though, you know, I have reached a point where I'm in a much better place, but it's still a daily battle, you know. Don't be under any illusion that, you know, everything's fine now because I've reached this point. No, it requires daily work on my part. And, you know, I still struggle expressing myself. So even though I'm empowering others, you know, being authentic and just being real and letting people know that this is how it is. It's not every day it smells of roses. Yeah, but by doing that, a bit like yourself, Kim, I've attracted amazing people into my life, the people I need in my life, the people who live to me, who get me, who are my tribe. I don't need to explain anymore.
No.
And so, it's something that is an evolving process, I think. I don't know if you ever get to a point where you have to make effort anymore.
So self-care is empowering.
Yes.
Yes.
It is. It's also, I just
It
want to add.
inspires others to be honest as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, and wanting to be a better version of ourselves every day. So if we're kind of in a dark space and, you know, this dark space is just repeating, we have to have that knowledge that we can be better. And once we know that we can be better, then we start to find the ways, and everything starts to change inside because you have that will and you've given yourself that compassion. You know, how we give compassion to others, we give that compassion to ourselves, like, we can do it. We can achieve this. And that also to remember what a vital piece of the larger puzzle we are. So as the ladies are saying, empowering ourselves, because we all need each other, and we all need each other to know who we are, because we're that unique individual, right? And we all kind of complement each other and fit into this puzzle. And if we don't awaken to that, it's literally dead. I don't know, that's how I see it. Like, it's just, wanting to be better. Yeah.
Self-care is wanting to be better. Self-care is community.
Yes.
Self-care is evolving. So everyone here spoke about a moment where it changed for them, where it became self-care, self-love became a game changer. how do we get people to start caring before it's at this critical point?
Can I talk about that?
Yes.
I feel that one of the things is that we have to teach people how to give of themselves, right? We are not taught how, we're just taught to. And the one thing that I recognized as I began to, for me, I don't believe in believing a thing unless it can actually do something in my life. And so as I searched scripture, it talked about being in a place of overflow. And so if you think about that, you think about putting a glass under water and letting it fill all the way up. But if you keep the water going and it starts flowing over and over and over, what's flowing over is what you're supposed to give to other people. But every inch of the water in the cup is what you need for yourself. And we tend to deplete the water out of the cup first. We're not taught to keep our cup full and then just give from the overflow. When you give from the overflow, it's effortless and you can be happy about it. It doesn't harm you in any way. But the moment you start feeling a little bit stressed, the moment you feel, you start feeling like, oh, I wish I didn't have to do that. When you're tired, you have to shut it down and you need to be good to yourself. It's learning how to give, not just that you need to give.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
Say it again, Kai.
That was perfectly said.
Yeah.
Great analogy. Because you can't pour from an empty cup.
No.
You know, we know the cup half empty or the cup half full, but I love how you just brought that together, Kim, in the sense that we need to have everything overflowing for ourselves, and then the overflow, you can't hold it all anyway, and we're not supposed to.
No.
We're not supposed to. And I think what I try to do, I think naturally, is just tell people and give them compliments and tell them what they're good at. And again, that's effortless, but I think some people are not used to hearing compliments or hearing what they're good at and think, oh, no, it's just, but actually, sometimes I feel like I can clearly see someone's gift. And if they don't see it, it's useless. It goes back to what you were saying earlier, Christine, like if somebody doesn't see their best selves, how is their husband? How is their wife? How is, the kids at their school or whatever it is they do for their profession? So when they know what it is and they value it, then they can at least take care of it and protect it. And that goes for everyone, because we've all got something to give to serve the world and the community. But yeah, you kind of just need people to know, and I suppose compliment each other so that it's sharing the love.
Okay, so I love that. That cup runners over, sharing the love, giving out compliments. So we've all met women and men that have this very negative talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I've heard it, and maybe I've even said it. Whereas someone says something nice to you, and you're like, oh, not really. Oh, okay. Well, or your hair looks nice. Well, I kind of got these grays I had to cover up. And, you should have seen it 2 minutes ago. It was a wild bouffant. You may have, right? You may have said it or heard someone when someone says something nice to you and your response is somewhat deprecating. I mean, but you're not thinking that I'm saying something negative. Mm-hmm. But you're not accepting the compliment.
Right.
Right? Yeah. So what have you, with the clients you've worked with, all of you have clients, all of you have written books. Well, some of you have written books and, work with communities all the time. What have you found? Kai said she gives out compliments. What other tools and strategies have you found that have helped people start sparking?
For me, I always try to get people to see things from different perspectives.
Okay.
So, that glass half empty, half full scenario, they may see it negatively, but just help them to maybe turn it around a little bit and to see it from a different angle, that it doesn't have to be the negative way that you think it is.
Okay, so turn it around. Anybody else?
Sorry, I'd love to add to that. So it's like, I'm gonna backtrack before I share what can spark it. it's really important to be able to recognize that that person is not able to receive a compliment, or just the fact, because we're all natural givers, right? I'm sure all the ladies here can relate to that. We're all naturally like, here, take. And then when it's your time to receive, you're like, oh no, I'm going to hide. I don't want to see this. I don't want, because I am literally a victim of that. It took me so many years to be able to receive that compliment and not feel that that other person is trying to, you know, have like bad intentions, you know? So it's really important to be able to open our heart to receive just as much as we give, because that's the law of abundance. You have to give and receive, like giving without expectation and receiving with ease. It's so vital. This is what I learned, and I really kind of share that with the community. And also another thing, what helps spark is trying new experiences, because when we try new experiences, we are getting to know ourselves with different scenarios. So just, okay, forgive me, I forgot your name. Just as one of the ladies said, sorry.
That's okay.
Looking at different perspective, it's so important. Same thing. New experiences give us new light to understand ourselves on a deeper level.
Right.
Yeah. No, I love that you said that. One thing that has been helpful for me, especially I'm an overgiver, and I can relate to Marcia being intuitive and an empath and all those labels, right? But it just means that you are feel more deeply. And, you know, we can, so some of that just comes on you and you're like, where are my feelings? Or the opposite is overgiving. So when someone gives to me, I've learned to say, I receive it. Even if I just say, I receive it. I receive it. I receive it. Because it breaks that I'm not, or thank you, or this other idea of being forced, feeling like obligated to say something nice back to the other person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that's also a way of not really receiving it.
Yes.
Right? You're like, oh, your hair looks good. Oh, so does yours. Just because.
Right. And you can stick with that as well. If you find yourself wanting to do that, or it's uncomfortable or whatever, you should sit with that and just ask yourself why.
Yes.
Ask yourself why.
Ask yourself why. So
Jessica, it will get easier. I think I can definitely relate to that, but over time it gets easier. And again, I used to think that maybe if I just say thanks, that's making me sound arrogant. Like, I know. It wasn't about arrogance. It was just accepting and receiving. That's it. So just if you find it uncomfortable, ask yourself why.
Why? Jessica says that I asked my daughter to change the channel on negative talk, that she's loving this chat, ladies. Awesome.
We're loving that.
One of the things that I had to do, I wasn't sure. I was hearing a feedback. I'm sorry. One of the things that I had to do as I started to learn I had to accept compliments is literally stop myself, you know, even in the moment. If I started to deflect and just say, wait a minute, I appreciate that. Just correct myself right there on the spot. And I teach other people to do the same thing.
Yes.
Be willing to police yourself out loud and hold yourself accountable. You know, and it's funny because for some of my friends, this has become a joke because I still struggle, right? And so they'll say something, you know, Kim, I really appreciate it, whatever, right? Or I really like the color of your clothes or whatever, right? And then I have something to say, oh, I only paid $2 for it, right? You got to justify why that happened. And they'll say, really? That's it? You know, and they give me this look and I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, but now, you know, when you're able to attach a lighter feeling to it, it makes it easier to be able to sit with a compliment. And then that does transcend to other things.
Yeah,
definitely.
So Mara says, yes, I stay so appreciative because I know they didn't have to say or do whatever it is. 100. That's fairly true. That the person giving to you is giving because they want to. I mean, so, okay. We talked about what created this urgency for self-care. Some tips and strategies on how to help others cultivate this in their lives. Let's talk about someone. If you met someone, let's think about a person that in your life that you want them to feel better. You want them to practice self-love. Maybe they're in a relationship that is abusive, or they're harming themselves in different ways. And you've done the tips. We've, said, hey, say I receive it. We've held space for them. What can we do to help them start just a small step? What are the small steps to help you start loving yourself more? The little baby steps.
For me, I've had friends, clients who've been in that situation. And I think being there for them, just giving them the space and the opportunity to just express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I find over time, once they start to express themselves, you don't necessarily have to fix the problem or have the solution, but just them even being able to utter what's actually going on. Because a lot of people don't even feel they can, right? So they suffer in silence. So the fact that they are comfortable, let's say, to share certain things with you, I find over time, this has been my personal experience, that it's easier to then intervene in the sense of having them view things differently, having them start to see their own value. I have worked with a lot of women who have been in domestic violence situations. They don't have the strength, the capacity to even think that they're worthy enough, to leave that situation, let alone speak to someone. So if they develop that trust, I think you're already partly on the way to, being able to, I would say, break down those barriers.
Okay. Thank you. So establishing trust, having a listening ear.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we could do?
I feel like giving them the space, just to add on what Marcia is saying, to give them the space to be with themselves. Sometimes we get so caught up with everything in our outer world. And, life, yes, we know life gets busy. We have bills to pay. We have all of these responsibilities. But we always forget to take that 5 minutes a day just to spend time with the self and check in and kind of hear the thoughts, and maybe have, an expert with them while they're sitting with themselves. So if they need to kind of communicate or share something, that person is there to kind of reflect. Because I feel like at the end of the day, we're all kind of reflections for and of each other. And we're all here to support each other in ways. So spending time with the self, building a relationship with the self.
Yeah.
And once, that inner awareness begins to build, slowly, the inner intelligence gets a bit louder. Mm-hmm. And soon enough, they're facilitating their own healing within your presence. That's right. The beauty of it. It's just, like Marcia, it's like a safe space that they can just be vulnerable and be themselves and explore.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that they're talking about having a safe space for especially people that you love and that you want to feel better.
Well, Shani, I feel like for me, that my responsibility is not to change people.
Okay.
My responsibility is to be present with people, right? And to be able to be a great interactive listener. And with that, listening for the cues and what the spirit tells me to share with them in the moment. Sometimes that might be nothing. Sometimes they just need to be heard, right? But sometimes there is something that intuitively that you feel it. It's like a spark that happens within you. Say this, do that. And that's my job with people. Because when I say this thing and the next person comes along and they say something and the next person comes along and they say something, it's like planting a seed, adding fertilizer, and then letting it rain. They will shift in their own time. My job is not to change them, but just to learn how to be present with them.
I love that you said that. I love that you said that. Your job is not to change them, but to learn how to be present. That's powerful.
I think adding to both what Kim and Christina said, in terms of something simple that really helped to shift for me, and I know that it works for a few other people, is when you wake up in the morning, taking 5 minutes for yourself is so important. And a friend many years ago said to me, I'm going to try meditating and doing this and doing that. And at the time, I wasn't practicing self-care like I am. And I felt like meditation was this, I don't know, mystical thing that I just couldn't do. My mind was too busy. But much later, when I did start practicing it, I remember he said to me, you just need to take 5 minutes a day, because when you wake up, you give all of your time and all of your energy to everyone and everything else. You wake up, you jump on social media, you get your breakfast, you're out the door. That's if you've even had breakfast. You jump on the tube. This was back when I was in London. You get to work. It's just constantly. And if you really think about it, when do you just give yourself 5 minutes? So that's what I started with. Meditation was just 5 minutes. And it doesn't have to be meditation for anyone else. But what I would say is, taking that 5 minutes with no social media. Many of us are guilty of, waking up, picking up the phone, checking emails or news stories, what happened yesterday, who you didn't reply to. And that's on autopilot. It's even probably an addiction for many people. But what we have to train yourself to do is to just give yourself that 5 minutes, even if you literally have to put it on a timer. Because I know for some people who don't sit with themselves, find it very hard, and the phone and all of these things, these distractions are what they do to stop themselves from thinking and focusing on what the actual issue is. So if you have to set a timer to literally count down every second in that 5 minutes for you, that's what you need to do. But that's where you can at least try to start to get some clarity, and maybe use that 5 minutes to just think about what you're grateful for, and then when that 5 minutes is done, then you go and do everything else, for everything else. But just those baby steps, you might make it 10 minutes, you might make it 20 minutes, you might start to make it an hour, but whatever you're comfortable with, so it doesn't feel like this big overwhelming thing. It can be just 5 minutes, and you never know, you might start doing it every day for 2 hours, but just taking that time for you without social media or the kids or the partner or whatever. Just not now, just 5 minutes. And then you can go out.
I love it. I love it, Kai. S. McPherson is asking, Shalina, what did you do to support your journey into meditation? I guess anyone that meditates can answer this question.
For me, when I started meditating like 10 years ago, and to be fair, the first 5 years, I was one of those that, had my eye open thinking, am I supposed to be feeling something here? I'm just not getting it, right? And then, when I really was going through a difficult period in my life, I would have a focus for my meditation. So if I woke up on a particular morning and I felt I needed calm, then that's what my meditation would be. If I felt I needed clarity, that's what my meditation would be. And that would help me to keep centered.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think I'm the same. I used to just sit there and my mind would just go in, and I'm like, am I supposed to chant something or feel something? Like, is something supposed to happen to me? But now I just, with so much going on, especially now, I just need peace. I just need nobody to speak sometimes. I just need silence. I didn't think I understood that about myself before. So now when I feel relaxed, when nothing is going on, and then I realize how anxious I get when it's getting chaotic, I've now understood that exactly what Marcia said, I need a focus. And I actually, just out of curiosity, used to search things like, vibrations or frequencies to listen to, and then I came across sound healing. and I didn't even know that was a thing. And then I started stumbling across things like binaural beats, and I was like, oh, what does this do? Stimulates the pineal gland, or I just out of curiosity was like, there's got to be something out there. So of course, YouTube is your friend. And then when I started finding meditations that I liked or that worked for me, I was like, okay, this is what kind of happens if I just get some peace and quiet. So that's what I would say. Just be curious, don't expect anything, and find what works for you.
Yeah.
I'd just like to add on what the lovely lady said, spot on. Just to add to everything that's been said is that meditation is just not one thing. And we always forget that. Like, I feel like the common knowledge is when you say meditation, everyone assumes that you're closing your eyes and sitting with mudras, and it freaks people out. They're like, oh my God, I don't want to sit. I don't want to close my eyes. So I really feel that, like what Kai was saying, people find their way, whether it's through music or through cooking or through art or through breathing techniques. It's literally finding that presence within every task. That's what meditation truly is. It's being present with all the tasks at hand. You're washing your dishes, you're doing your laundry, but you're there. You're not thinking about 60,000 things. You're just purely present with the task at hand, and with your awareness, with your breath. And that's what it is. I'll go into further detail about it tomorrow, but yeah.
Oh yes, yes. You have a whole workshop for us. That's awesome. And Kai, we have Sonia Gonzalez, who's going to do sound healing tomorrow also. So just what you're referring to, she's going to be on the summit tomorrow. So as we close, ladies, two things. One, what tip that has not been mentioned? Mara says, a prayer to ask, meditation is to receive. Awesome. Thank you, Mara. What tip could you give someone about starting their self-care? How to start their self-care, or what a self-care practice is beyond the meditation and the binaural beats. What else can we give them? Can we give them some more information?
Yeah, I would say that you should think of it this way: to be as kind to yourself as you're willing to be to someone else.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Beautiful.
I'm going to replay this because these ladies said some awesome stuff. I was trying to take notes, but it's kind of hard to do.
You said be as kind to yourself as you would to someone else.
As you're willing to be. Not even would, as you're willing to be. Because sometimes I think we are willing to be even nicer than what we are. So
yeah, that's true.
You have to be a best friend to yourself.
Yeah, give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to feel good.
Exactly. Yeah. And find what you love to do. There's so much on the planet that you can enjoy doing. Find it. It's not a one recipe for everybody. So find what you love to do, and through that you'll start to explore yourself and hopefully be more present with what you're doing, and then use all these lovely self-care tips.
I've often asked people that I've worked with, if your friends and family could hear what you say to yourself, would they be happy or would they be shocked? And, even when we're saying, do this, do that for yourself, people go, yeah. But actually, when you start asking yourself questions, would people be surprised by what you're telling yourself? Absolutely. I think for many of us, they would never believe you'd say that to yourself, or you think that about yourself. So if the answer to that is a little bit alarming, then that's when you need to start changing the dialogue in your head and start being kinder to yourself. And it's not just, you look pretty today. It's not that. It's everything. So really treating yourself like that person that you hold in high regard, that best friend, that celebrity that you idolize. Like, however you talk about and praise other people is how you really need to uplift yourself, as if you're looking after like a small child.
No,
I'd like to say one last thing. Also lead by
okay.
example. If we take that responsibility that we are just as vital as every single person on the planet, then we'd want to be better for ourselves and everyone around us. And then that
Mhm.
ripples out. You're literally giving people the permission to explore themselves and love themselves just as you are. So yeah, just popped in my head once. Share.
No, it's awesome. Last part, as you're over time, fill in the blank. Self-care is.
Fun.
Loving yourself.
Yeah.
But let's say it starts. We'll just go around because it all sounds
Self-care
together.
is loving yourself.
Okay.
Self-care is fun.
Go, Kim.
I would say
What'd you say?
self-care is necessary.
Yes. Christina, I didn't hear yours.
Self-love is self-awareness.
Self-care is essential, just as water is essential to life.
Yes.
Nice one.
And I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this panel, sharing your essence, your spark, your beauty, your story. Not a lot of people share that they were depressed, that they were in bad relationships, because we're supposed to be out here looking a certain kind of way. So I believe that by you being vulnerable and transcending your pain and creating some beautiful, I mean, Christina creates beautiful art. You guys have created beautiful programs and helped people create these with themselves. That's the beauty of life. So self-care is transcending. Self-care is igniting. Self-care is beyond community. It's global. You know, we're all in different parts of the world, from different parts of the world, sharing what has helped us. I'm so deeply appreciative that you're part of this. I want to give you guys like 10 seconds apiece. We're over time just to tell people where they can find you. We'll start with Kai, and then I'm going to work my way. Kai, Christina, we're going around like that, okay?
Yes, I don't know if you can show the names at the bottom, but my name and my handles, my name is Kai. You can head over to my website, www.iamsimplykai.com, and it's the same for my Instagram and Facebook. I am Simply Kai, and I also have a platform called Black Girl in Dubai, which promotes Black businesses here in the UAE. If you want to get empowered and tap into your true self, overcoming self-doubt, please check out my book on Amazon, I Am What I Say I Am, and let's talk. Perhaps you can jump into my course, Reclaim Your Power.
Thank you so much, sweetie.
Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome.
Kai, I need to come visit you in Dubai. Seriously. How have I not heard of you before?
You hear about her now.
Yeah,
Christina.
I know. That's amazing. Thank you, Shani and lovely ladies, for this beautiful talk. Really, I really appreciate it. You can find me on blankcanvas.community on Instagram and Facebook. And you can check out our website, www.blankcanvascommunity.com. And that's it. And I just want to say also, self-care is your birthright.
Yes.
Use it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Christina. Marcia.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram. My handle is here, being Marcia McLeod. You can also find me at my website, which is www.marciamcleod.com, where you'll find lots of resources and some of my blogs that I've written. And of course, you can contact me if you want to know a little bit more about my course that I offer.
All right. Thank you so much, Marcia. Yes. All right, Kim.
It's been such a pleasure to meet all these wonderful women, Shani. Thank you so much. You can reach me through my Facebook group, Ignited Spirits. You can find that by going to ignitedspirits.org. I do also have a website, kimberlyhorvath.com. I have a program called The Seeker's Journey where you can, work with me to help you understand your spiritual DNA. But in my Ignited Spirits group, beginning in July, I'm running a 31 Days to Happiness in honor of my birthday month. So join me on Facebook and let's just get happy.
All right, let's all just make it happen. Once again, I am so honored and blessed that we could be a part of this conversation. I know it's going to change people's lives. Continue to be ignited and share your gifts with everyone. And our stories connect us. You know, and that's one thing about my Women's Fit show. When people hear the stories, it's like, oh, you went through that? You know, like wow, I went through that too. So we can't keep it to ourselves. So ladies, stay blessed. I love y'all. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure. Lovely to meet you, ladies.
Nice to meet you
Lovely
all.
to meet you.
Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.